All right, the king and queen arrived today with Trump. Let's watch some of the pomp and circumstance.
32. Ready doors. Ready pop. Ready open.
It's like Biden.
Ready shut. Ready face. Forward march.
Not very impressive. Pretty pathetic looking, honestly. King Charles looks like such a little weasel. This old man weasel. Trump is just such a towering figure over him. This is historic, though. You know, whether you like it or not, it's historic. So, you know, we'll freeze frame it there. Look at the difference, man. Eating that American food versus that British food, that's what that does to you. Keeps you shrunken. Nobody likes British food. That's what it does to you. I imagine he's about the same age as Trump, maybe a little older. But anyways, so he showed up today, and listen, he's going to be meeting with a lot of people. I think he's addressing Congress. I think he's meeting with Mamdani. I mean, he's going to make some rounds, and who knows what they're talking about behind the scenes. But frankly, I don't care. Honestly, what does it matter? You know, it really doesn't. We have our guy in charge, and he's already showing that he's in charge of the entire world. I mean, not really, but you guys know what I mean. Trump has made America, which is the most important nation in the world, the most prosperous, the most important financially, biggest military, all that. He has made us take our rightful place again as number one. And rightful because we earned it. We have the best system. We have the best constitution. We have empowered our people the most. We've earned it over 250 years. So we're just going to take our place, and we're going to use that, and we're going to make it better for us. And so, but knowing all that, it doesn't matter what the king comes and says to anybody else. They're a failing country. The UK is pathetic. And City of London is like the deep state is reeling. Trump is just undercutting them at every possible opportunity. Venezuela was they were already reeling, but you know, they had maybe a smidgen of hope here and there that if Trump fully took back our country, they at least would have their proxy states out there. They at least could maybe keep the good times rolling for their area, the EU, the Eurozone, and maybe, just maybe in a few elections, they'd get one of their guys back in, and then they'd get there. But Trump's he's like, nah, no, I'm going to take out your entire international infrastructure. I'm not just, and people are mad, you know, why is he not doing stuff here? Because Trump isn't just ending deep state in America. He's not just trying to fix our country. He's trying to eliminate them once and for all, to make sure that they can never come back. They can never build back. Trump is setting everything up so everybody gets to be sovereign. And what he means by that, we're not interested in controlling other countries. We are interested in making sure the City of London, the globalists, don't control other countries. And that's what Trump's doing first. He's cutting them all off. He's cutting off their resources, cutting off their way of producing, their proxy states, breaking it all away from them, making sure we have clear lanes to everything we want to do, which is be the baddest, biggest energy producing juggernaut the world has ever seen, which is how you get prosperity like you've never seen a country. I mean, look at like Saudi Arabia and all these energy rich countries. That's what Trump wants to do here, except without, you know, caliphate. But make America great again. He's going to make us greater than ever again, is what he's doing. He's doing that by not just fixing it here. He's fixing it everywhere. And then once he's done this, it's going to be just like Venezuela. He's going to be like, peace out. We fixed you guys. Now you're in charge of yourselves. We set you free. We're going back. We're handling business at home. No desire to control others, but a strong desire to make sure all of our interests are perfectly no longer to be tampered with. So all these countries that have messed with us over the years, you're done. I mean, Venezuela and Iran had hurt us directly. He's finishing that. Cuba, he's finishing that. But indirectly, and directly in some places, but indirectly in the fact that it's not a sovereign nation itself, he's killing the globalist system, which is Davos, WEF, City of London. He's killing that system. He's choking them all out, and he's making sure it goes away forever. Now this is awesome. So playing they come and we're going to give them our anthem. A lot of times when a monarch would come, you'd play their anthem to honor them. Say like hello. Making King Charles stand for our anthem. That's gotta hurt a little bit. See, City of London, British Empire never wanted to lose us. They never intended to let us go. We only won the war because it was financially hurting them too much. They had to quit. And it wasn't like we dominated them. This was the greatest empire in world history, and we were a group of colonists who were starving soldiers, and Washington's genius. We outlasted them, and we won Yorktown, the final battle, and they were like, we can't do this anymore. We retreat, and we give in. But then they came right back in 1812, just 30 years later. So they've tried. And they tried, and then through financial means, Britain can't stand that they lost us. They can't stand it. And one way or the other, they've been trying to take us back ever since. So making them stand for the American anthem, love it. Absolutely love it. Historically speaking, this is the first state visit to the White House by British monarchs since Elizabeth and Philip in 2007, which means that they never visited Obama. That's interesting to me. Queen Elizabeth, I don't know necessarily good things to say about her, but I will say this. I think she hated communism, and I think she hated Obama. I really do. Now, as far as their system and all that, I can't tell you enough about her, about how much she was a fan of spreading it. But it is telling that she never came to see Obama. So the itinerary, they're going to do state dinner, White House, address to the Congress, meetings with first responders, victims, and families for 9/11. That's, well, like he says, that is interesting. They're doing a 9/11 ceremony with UK. But also that's where the Mamdani meeting comes in. And then cultural events in Virginia tied to the 250th. But you see this, 250th, we're making King Charles. But the fact that Trump, as him, first visit, okay, by the British monarchs in 19 years, comes here, this is their system, okay, globalist City of London system. He brings Charles here, makes him stand for our anthem, and then they're going to go witness us celebrating our independence from them 250 years ago. That's what Trump has set up for him. That is like, even if this isn't Charles surrendering, this is a huge FU to him in a major way. I don't see how you see this any other way. This is not, we're celebrating our British roots. We're celebrating our British ties. We're celebrating the special relationship. No, this is, hey, you're coming here. Cool. You're going to celebrate how we escaped you, how we beat you 250 years later. That, my friends, is fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. I love it, and that is so Trump. So interesting timing again. We keep talking about this, but the Trump assassination attempt this Saturday, same Hilton where Reagan was shot. Then King Charles arrives, And then last week, a House of Lords report admitting their empire's toast without U.S. cooperation. Remember I shared that on the show? It's all coming out. We can't live without you guys. If the special relationship isn't healed, we're screwed. And the only way the special relationship gets healed is if they lose. We break them, which he's right in the middle of doing. And it's happening. It's not just them, though. Remember, City of London controls the entire EU. It controls all those countries, France, Germany, Spain. They're all in that system. The Euro zone, the EU, it is the City of London's government, for lack of a better term. It's all set up by them. It's how they run the whole continent. And you see how bad it is for all of them because Trump's breaking the system. But look at what's going on in Germany right now. German economy has been in full-blown depression for years. Private sector investment barely covers depreciation costs. Countries running on fumes. Politicians attempting to fill the vacated industrial capacity with arms production eco projects to stabilize it. Endeavor doomed to fail. At the same time, policy of open borders forever ensuring German welfare states being literally plundered. Countries being abandoned to ruin by a cast of globalists enriching themselves through it. Germany used to be a wonder. An economic wonder, and that was only, a decade, 15, 20 years ago. So they've crushed it that quickly. Well, Trump is crushing that. Germany was the economic driver for the whole EU. They made the money, the EU distributed it. And what Trump's doing right now, choking off Iran and making us the natural gas exporter, he's driving up all those energy costs, and that's breaking Germany, which if Germany's economy breaks, that breaks the entire EU's economy. They're all codependent. And UK, again, this makes UK even desperate. And it's getting so bad in the UK that the people are starting to wake up. We have Keir Starmer, their glorious prime minister. He's less popular than Bush was when he was as least popular there. 18% popularity in UK right now. So, I don't know what it's going to take. The British people are pretty, subdued. They are not the most likely people to rise up, but if it's going to happen, it's going to happen soon because we're at the point where the UK, they might be having enough between the migrants coming in, the rape issues they got going on there, which is horrific. If your stomach can handle that, those stories are crazy. What's going on over there? But their economy dumping. Trump is using all the chokeholds everywhere. What they were hoping is if Kamala had won, they were going to go all in on the Ukraine-Russia war, fire up the war machine again, and they were going to hope for a massive war. They could turn into World War III. And this is a one-time, like Alex Jones was close to being right. Reshape, rejuvenate the European economy while also weakening the U.S. so that Europe, this City of London system could spread and become more and more powerful. That's what they were hoping to do. Trump again ruined their plans. So with all of this happening, with all this breaking off, guys, this is where I think we're headed. So I put together this article today, and I want to go through it to kind of give you a glimpse of where I think we're heading, because everything Trump's pulling off is headed to a place. And what we need to start doing, because we're clearly winning, it's time to stop the blackpilling. And it's time to start dreaming of what could come. And because we're going to be, once all this is defeated, which I believe Trump's cleaning up over the next couple of years. But meanwhile, while he's beating them back, our economy is already being reinvested and rebuilt. And what's coming if all this happens, here's just a conservative look at what could be coming. But King Charles on the White House today, media calls it high stakes diplomacy. Transatlantic tensions over Iran, tariffs, NATO, standard framing. Here's what actually is happening. The old order is stepping back. It's doing it visibly on our front lawn on our birthday. If Trump's full agenda delivers, all of it, today's visit isn't diplomacy, it's acknowledgement, it's surrender. City of London-style financial leverage kept America tethered. It's losing its grip, and what's replacing is something no one alive has seen before. And it's true, because this has been going on for over 100 plus years. So this is what the world could look like. We're already the world's top energy producer and exporter. Crude output plus total liquids puts Saudi Arabia and Russia in our rearview mirror combined. LNG supertankers lined up at Gulf Coast ports because Europe and Asia have no better option. It's not a talking point, it's the current market reality. What does that do? It strips leverage from foreign debt holders. China and Japan cannot play the oil dependence card anymore because the world needs our oil and gas, not theirs. Export revenues are flowing in. Dollar stays dominant. America dictates terms instead of negotiating for weakness. So we're in the driver's seat completely now in the world economy because we are the energy king. And Trump did that. And that might be the single biggest win of the Iran operation so far. And because this isn't going backwards now. This would not have happened without attacking Iran. So gas could stay in the $2 to $3 range long term. I actually think it could get a little lower, but let's just say it settles around the low twos nationwide. Energy bills drop. Downstream effect on manufacturing costs, transportation, consumer goods is real and compounding. King Charles in Washington, that's Europe, acknowledging what the energy map shows. Buy American, keep struggling with green energy shortfalls and whatever's left of Russian supply. The task forces are working. This is for fraud. Hundreds of billions flagged and clawed back already. If AI auditing, better verification, and dismantling of long-running fraud networks compound to $1 to $2 trillion in annual savings, which Trump has said is possible. He thinks it could be $2. The money stops flowing overseas into wrong pockets. It becomes tax relief, debt reduction, domestic reinvestment. Tariffs held in place through national security and unfair trade provisions push manufacturing back to American soil. Combine that with cheap domestic energy and get a simple formula. Factories are open. High-wage jobs come back to places written off. Steel towns, auto regions, semiconductor corridors. We're already seeing this happening. The manufacturing numbers that have been coming in have already been incredibly strong, surpassing expectations, and it's barely gotten started. Supply chains COVID exposed is fragile, become domestic and secure. Made in USA stops being a slogan. It becomes default. The NATO stops being a blank check. America is no longer subsidizing Europe's defense to tens of billions. Allies hit real spending targets. Alternative is no longer guaranteed American backstop. U.S. shifts to backup role. Europe buys our LNG. American taxpayer money stays home, goes towards our priorities. And here's what happens when this happens, guys. Economic stability arrives, creates conditions. Young Americans can afford to get married, buy a house, raise kids without drowning in debt. Now the culture changes. Family formation will go up because numbers finally work. Two-income households stop being survival necessity, be a choice. Two-parent homes become more common, not from policy, but from stability. Faith comes back. We're already seeing this. Christianity has come back. For the first time, it's reversed the trend in decades. Not forced, not performative. When people aren't in survival mode, they look for meaning. Christianity in particular has been losing younger generations partially because of economic precarity. Change the material conditions, you change calculus. Church attendance climbs, faith communities get stronger. Fruit of that, charity, stewardship, personal responsibility shows up in neighborhoods, not just on Sundays. National pride is shifting from anxious, defensive to quieter and more confident. We're already seeing this as well. The hockey team winning, the rocket to the moon, even if you think it was fake, okay? Even if you're one of those people, you can't deny it made a sense of American pride. 250th anniversary energy carries forward. 4th of July feels like something again. Schools teach history with pride rather than indictment. We got a while to go to that, but it's possible. We stop arguing whether a country is worth defending because they can see it working. Polarization doesn't disappear but softens. Shared prosperity gives people something real to focus on. Cultural institutions stop trading in cynicism because cynicism doesn't sell when things are going well. 100%. You know, we forced things to go bad in America. It was all designed degradation. Marco Rubio actually talked about this. It was brilliant. But it was by design. They were killing us from within on purpose, and this is why. falling apart creates a culture that degrades as well, creates hopelessness. When people get hopelessness, they start choosing simple pleasures and cheap pleasures, which are also unfulfilling and get more perverse, because cheap pleasure never fulfills. But when you feel like you have nothing else, that's why people keep chasing that. Here's what could happen. Middle class, working class, doesn't matter much. Daily texture if the policies hold. Energy and grocery bills are noticeably lower. Maybe not by price alone, but maybe they hold stable while wages go up. This way, based on a percentage, they're still lower. Actual items on the monthly budget cause less anxiety. Paychecks stretch further because tax increases don't happen. Further cuts come through. Already happening. Raises outpace inflation for first time in years because manufacturing competition for labor is real, not hypothetical. Already happening. We barely started. Factory in nearest mid-sized city running 3 shifts. You know someone who works there. Job pays well, has benefits. People aren't hiding. They work with their hands. That's already happening because AI is killing the white-collar jobs. That has already been seen. Last year, white-collar jobs dropped by 400,000 in America. A lot of it because of AI. We're going back to the days when you can make a real living working a job from a trade school, a tech school, an apprenticeship. You no longer will need college for the vast majority of jobs. And I got to tell you, that sounds like freedom right there. And it will also stop the mass formation psychosis that happens of people who go to college and get indoctrinated. So all of this can look ahead, guys. Young couples in their mid-20s can buy houses now, not starter condos, with yards and places they want to raise kids. First baby comes before 30. Neighborhood has Little League again. There's community cookout on the 4th. People know each other's names. Church down the street is a full parking lot. Kids grow up hearing their country is the undisputed leader of the free world, and unlike their parents' generation, they can see the evidence for it. They don't inherit anxiety as a default setting. They inherit confidence. This isn't fantasy. It's what happens when policies already in motion deliver. Energy records break, fraud savings compound, tariffs drive reshoring, NATO obligations come home, and cultural confidence follows material success, just the way it's always been. Every American boom. King Charles is here today because the world is repositioning around a new reality. The old globalist playbook's losing its grip visibly on the 250th anniversary of the country, always supposed to be different. Golden age isn't on its way. It's already started. Whew. Can I get an amen? Listen, guys, I put this together because I'm not only seeing it already starting, it's what I absolutely believe is coming. The best is yet to come. And we are breaking the system that most of us were born into. I'm 42. I've only seen glimpses of what American greatness, American exceptionalism can be. I've only seen glimpses in my lifetime. They were beautiful and it felt good. But we were all under this system for so long. And some of you got to live, maybe some of you are older, and you lived before a lot of the system had really taken hold. Maybe you got to experience the 50s where America, even though the system was already getting its grips in, it still hadn't changed the American exceptionalism. Maybe you really were thriving in the 80s when Reagan brought back at least the spirit of it. Even though he couldn't break the system, he brought the spirit back. Maybe that's what he did. Maybe you experienced that. So you got a wonderful, great glimpse. But none of us have lived under the true American system because it hasn't existed since 1913. 1913 is when they instituted the income tax and brought the Fed here. That, my friends, was the beginning of the end of the American system. That was the beginning of the globalist system getting its grips into us. And it accelerated after World War II with the birth of the United Nations and the Marshall Plan. We just started investing overseas and making these countries grow, and we couldn't get away from it after that. And they kept embedding more and more. Communists were embedding themselves in our country and our entertainment and our politics. We had a blip where they went after them and they took down McCarthy, the man leading that charge to get the communists out. They took him down, and then it became taboo to hunt after them again. So the commies, the hardcore liberals, they started infiltrating again the education system, the entertainment system, worked their way into the politics, and look where we got. Trump is killing all of that because these people, even though communism is ultimately their system, they don't think of themselves, most of them don't think of themselves as communists. They think of themselves as globalists. They think of themselves as liberals. And but they are communists. They are. Many do consider themselves Marxists or communists. But the system, even those people, most of them have a system behind them, and it's a system of global financial dominance established by the City of London that has held its hands and tried to control all of us for a very long time. And even that goes back further into dark, dark stuff. You can trace it back all the way to the beginning of biblical times, back to the Tower of Babel, back to the Moloch, the Canaanites worshiping Moloch, sacrificing children. That system it's a demonic system. It's existed since the beginning of time. It just keeps rearing its head in new ways. And Trump is going to beat it back more than it's ever been beat back. And when he does, which he's in the middle of, we're going to see an America. Now imagine this, because I really do think this is coming. It'll look different than the past. So don't be thinking like, oh, I wish it was the 50s all over again. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay. Some people like idolize the 50s, and there was great stuff about that time, but it wasn't perfect. We're going to get something even better. We're going to get that cultural pride. I believe we're going to get a lot of that cultural hegemony around Christianity for the most part coming back, and we're going to get prosperity like we've never seen in a new era with better technology, and it's just I think beautiful things are coming, guys. There's so much doom scrolling and doom pilling going on, and I got to tell you, that's always been. So if you're in the Industrial Revolution, you were dooming about the machines. If you were in the tech boom of the 80s, you were like, oh, the computers are coming to take us over. If you were in the internet, the 95, Windows 95, oh, the internet's going to ruin the world. Y2K is going to ruin the world. Every generation dooms about change. But if you believe in a big God, that change ultimately always ends up well for the most part, and that's where we're heading, guys. Trump is doing something incredible, so I really do think in 10 years this could be what America's looking like again, and I think along the way we're just going to be getting it. It's just going to be getting better along the way. So I really think this starts going into effect. We start seeing the real beginnings of this in the next 18 to 24 months. We'll start really seeing major differences. And I think we're going to start seeing big changes begin in the economy in about 6 months. But, yeah, guys, the best is yet to come. I believe that with all my heart.